Alright, we're going to be looking at a super budget option for making a decent quality night vision helmet. There's lots of airsoft $50, $60 helmets out there that already have a shroud molded into them, but if you're looking for best bang for your buck, I recommend building one out yourself. That way you can get one of these aluminum night vision shrouds that are meant to hook onto helmets, and they're going to be a lot more durable than the plastic airsoft ones. Plus you get a little bit tighter mate whenever you stick your mount up into them, that it won't wobble around as much, so overall it is better quality. We're going to be building this thing out on this Outdoor Master ski helmet. So really you could do this with basically any helmet that you have a good adjustment on that you can really make fit to your head. This one I was able to get for 20 bucks off eBay. So this is going to be a pretty budget build, but we're going to look for quality, not just price. With this, first thing we're going to do is we're going to pop out these little earmuffs here, because we aren't going to need those. Although, I guess if you're going to do stuff where it's going to be really chilly, that might be nice to have, so we'll hold on to them. To start off, we're just going to take out the screw, and we can take our mount and lay it flush on the face of our helmet and pull it down until the little tabs right here meet the foam that's on the side of this helmet. Most of these sport helmets are going to have a really dense foam on the inside instead of the soft padded ones with a thinner padded liner. That's just fine for what we're going to do. Make sure it's nice and centered and laying flat on the front. Then press down into the foam. And all you're doing there is you're going to make a couple of indentions down into it like that. That way you can take a little knife and just cut through the fabric and cut into the foam right where those indentions are, creating little spaces for those tabs to sink down into. So you're going to cut right there into both, making our recesses for our helmet mount to dig into. There we go. Sit that back in the same spot. Press down again. You can see that it sinks all the way in. And make sure it's good and flush all the way around. That looks pretty good. So right now would be a good time before you start drilling holes to put your mount in and go attach your night vision. And while holding this flush up against here, make sure that its adjustability range is going to match up with what you need to have it match up to your eye, because within these mounts themselves you can take out these couple little back screws here and move this up or down, and that can let you have a little bit of adjustability on the mount side, so you don't have to have all your adjustment just here in your mount itself. So check that out. Then you're just going to take a pencil or something and mark inside this hole right here. There we go. We have a nice mark, and we can see it's still centered here in the very front of the helmet. And we're going to drill a hole right there in the middle of that. And we're just going to drill all the way through the foam and everything. But before you do that, you probably want to take out, if your helmet has some type of cloth liner, you'd want to take that out first. But after doing that, just drill all the way through. After you have your hole drilled through, you're going to want to look at the inside of this here, and you're going to have to drill through or cut through the inside of this foam so that this width of this nut can recess down inside that foam, because you can't have this screw to the outside of the foam because it won't be sturdy enough. It needs to screw to this outside plastic shell. So we're going to have the screw coming through and into the nut like this instead of like this, because this isn't very thick. It's not as thick as the helmets they're intended to be put on, so we're going to have to do it like that right there. You see where you don't have this standoff. So wall that out enough to where this can go down inside of it. We can attach the mount. Set the tabs back in their little holes, push up, and then drop that middle screw through the hole in the mount and through the hole in the helmet. Screw it down all the way. And then come on the inside and push our nut like this, going in with the head facing inwards onto the nut and screw it down. And there we go. Now we have our mount completely attached to our helmet. For some people, this will be enough and you won't put a strap over the top, but I want this thing to be extra secure, so let's make a strap for it. Just to make sure nothing moves anywhere. So we're going to make a piece of strap that we're going to use to attach that shroud. It'd be a little easier if you had a piece of 3/4 inch webbing, but if you don't have any, that's fine. You can do it just like this. This is about 2 feet long because we'll cut it to length once we're done. All you have to do is fold over this little edge right here and then fold that piece in to meet it, and then you just fold it onto the inside into the middle, and you're just going to run a stitch all the way down along that seam like that, basically just closing off all the rough edges from this piece of material. So how this is going to work is we're going to have this fed through one of these holes, and pretty much all of these sport helmets, they have some type of holes on top. So feed through a hole, come out the other hole, and then you're going to be able to have that run up to the very front, go through one of these, and then over here on the side we're going to have a hook and then loop on the other side so we can slap them on top of each other and pull it tight, and that'll help lock that in. So now we're going to sew on some hook and loop. Hook on one side, loop on the other. Put about 4 inches of each just to be on the safe side. On the end of this, stitch your Velcro down. We're just going to put a stitch all the way around the border. And fold that end over also, just to make it look nice. Fold the end over, then close that up inside the Velcro and sew all the way around the edge. Alright, now it's best time to feed this thing through whatever holes you're going to feed it through on your helmet, just to make sure that you have it to the right length before you sew on your last bit of Velcro. There we go. Now we can see that we only need to bring it to right about here. And that's going to cover the whole edge of that Velcro there. So we can just cut the rest off. Cut that off there. Take your lighter, fuse the end. There we go. Now we can sew on the hook side of the Velcro, which is going to go on the inside now. We're just going to fold that over a little bit, slap our hook side on there, and we can sew it up. You can take it off the helmet, but I'm just going to leave it on there so I don't have to thread that thing through again. And then cut the excess off the side. Since this is a piece of 1 inch Velcro, and we only need a piece of a 3/4 inch wide, we have a little bit of overhang, but we can just trim that off and make it look nice. And there we go. Now what we're going to do is move this to right about where the Velcro comes up out of that hole, and then we're going to just pull it really good and tight and stick it down. There we go, and that's going to add a little bit more support to our shroud. From here we can go and put a couple pieces of Velcro down. We can even put like a little flap over the top of it that's attached via Velcro that we could mount like a strobe or something to. But I want to keep this helmet pretty slick, so I'm just going to leave it as is for now. But there you go. It's how to mount a shroud on a non-shroud compatible helmet. This is just a ski helmet. These things are super common. You do the same thing with skateboard helmets. So there you go. Be creative. make your gear work for you, and do it on a budget. Cool.